Welcome to Empowered Through Health with Dianne Solano, bringing you interviews with health and wellness experts from around the globe, educating, entertaining, and inspiring. Empowered Through Health starts now.
Hello, everyone. It's that time again, Friday, Empowered Through Health. I'm really excited to have everyone on this show. My name is Dianne Solano. I am your podcast host for Transformation Talk Radio, our segment that actually airs every other Friday, Empowered Through Health. And the goal of this show is to empower you, give you information, give you tips, give you tools around really fabulous natural strategies that I've learned in my past 20 years of practice, and have met a whole bandwidth of wonderful professionals that are changing lives around the world. So our conversations are to highlight different struggles and ailments and topics around health to empower you. Now, the goal of the show is not to diagnose, it's not to, take over the medical model. It really is just to give you additional tools that are all natural, that are really empowered through Mother Nature, and really knowledge is key, right? So that conversation when it comes to medicine and actual diagnosis is between you and your doctor. This show here is to just give you information. So we want simple, easy strategies that the masses may or may not know exist. And that's what we want to do on this show, is to highlight the power of your 100 trillion cells. Because I really believe that when you do better, you feel better, you actually show up in the world a lot more empowered and a lot more present in whatever it is that you do. You just become a better parent, a better CEO, a better sports fanatic, whatever you want to do in life, you do it at your best when you feel amazing. And that's the goal behind the show. So I want to introduce you to my special guest, Miss Rachel Headings, formerly a nurse practitioner. So she was in the conventional medical model world, but she decided, you know what? Functional medicine is where I want to be at. So she's turned into a virtual functional medicine consultant, which I love because everyone can access her around the world. She specializes in many different areas like allergies and gut health and adrenal health, which we're going to talk about today, and really the idea of getting to the root cause. So she was empowered and awakened by her own health struggles, which is amazing, and is now leading very powerfully as a new functional medicine practitioner, as she has now claimed her health back. So with no further ado, I'm going to welcome Rachel on this show. Rachel, maybe you can open it up by sharing a little bit about your journey. I'm always so intrigued when I meet pharmacists and nurses and doctors that are coming from the conventional model, which can be powerful, but it can be limiting. And then all of a sudden they're like, wow, here's what I'm discovering. And I'm so excited about sharing this additional message to the world. Welcome, Rachel.
Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be here. Thanks, Dianne. That was a wonderful introduction, but it's very true. Conventional model has its limitations. It's great for surgery, for things acute, infections, that kind of stuff. But me with chronic issues since I was a child, I just kept finding the same answers. Each doctor told me I was depressed, I was anxious, it was all in my head. Take another antibiotic, take another pill, and I just kept getting sicker. It wasn't until I met some chiropractors and they put me on an elimination diet, and I started to nourish my body differently, took some supplements, that kind of stuff, that I noticed improvement in my symptoms. Fast forward to into my 30s, I met a physician at my gym, and she introduced me to functional medicine. And that's when my life changed. I got serious about the diet changes. I learned about how the body's all connected and how all the symptoms really were coming from a root cause. And that's when the light inside of me just got lit, and I was like, I need to share this with the world. This can be life-changing. You don't have to live with fatigue and abdominal pain, rashes, allergies, asthma, and I had all of that. And so through my own health journey, I've become very passionate about strategies and helping people uncover what they need on their healing journey to feel their best.
That's so amazing, and I think that's where we're starting to wake up, I think, or I believe. And then that's the message behind the show, is knowing the power behind Mother Nature. We've eaten food, we've taken care of our bodies probably more holistically many, 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 many years and decades ago. And food now has changed because it's become very chemically driven. And some people just don't know the basics of health, which is everything you eat has to break down, has to digest. It sends a signal to your cells. And that's an intelligence that existed for thousands of years. It's not going to change. So, how do we come back to the basics again? And it sounds like you had to do that, dig deep and go into the root causes behind what's throwing your body off kilter. Bodies don't lie, they're really honest. They're always giving us feedback, and that's exactly it. We have to pay attention to the feedback they're giving us, because if not, it gets louder and louder and louder and louder until we decide one day, hopefully, to wake up or say, you know what, I am sick and tired of being sick and tired. And there's so many people right now, and I'm excited about today's topic, adrenal fatigue, because this, I believe, is the 21st century syndrome. Many people have it. They don't even know they have it. You just think being tired is normal, and it's not. And it is so annoying when you know you've got so much to give, there's so much you want to do, but you physically can't. Maybe you can talk a little bit about what is adrenal fatigue? How do you know you have it? Signs and symptoms, because this is a really big topic for many people that are go, 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 full lives, busy moms, you name it.
It's very true. I can kind of just sense it in people when they, reach for their coffee, reach for their sugary treats, reach for chips. You can just kind of see that they're exhausted. They maybe gain a few extra pounds they can't lose no matter what they do. And they're just like want to put their head down and not pick it up. And our rat race lifestyle, go, 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 shove the food in our mouth, get on to the next activity, certainly doesn't help the process and help the communication from our brain to our adrenals. We get into this chronic stress mode where we just don't have enough time. We can't keep up with our schedules, our kids' schedules, our, obligations, our commitments. The list goes on and on and on. And until we step up to the plate and say, no, I need to prioritize my needs and do what my body needs to stay in balance, it won't change. I always tell my clients, it's so much easier to stay sick than to do the work and get better. It takes a lot of courage to really step up and say, hey, you got to do what you got to do to make the change, or you're just going to keep getting the same results. And the same thing for adrenal fatigue. You got brain fog. You feel sick a lot and can't get over a cold. A lot of people's immune systems drop with adrenal fatigue. You might get jittery or shaky when your blood pressure or blood sugar drop, and you get dizzy and want to just sit down. A lot of people don't equate that to adrenals. Well, they drive a lot of the communication that keeps everything stable. So a lot of people, might have headaches in the afternoon or feel wired and tired before they want to go to sleep and can't calm everybody down to just go to sleep. They might have insomnia or a lot of frequent night wakenings. So a lot of these symptoms, they don't associate with the adrenals, but at the end of the day, that's the driver of a lot of our health issues.
I'm so familiar with adrenal fatigue. It was actually so annoying. Adrenal fatigue crept into my life when I was at the beginning of my career in nutrition. So I was in my early 20s, and I remember I was remodeling a home, which I've never done before. So there was a financial stress, there was physical stress. I was doing my part-time job while I was in school, which is bartending at nights. So I was up until 3 a.m, running on cortisol, running on stress hormones. I was hyper. I could get it all done. Go, 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 go. I was like the Energizer bunny. And I remember I decided, you know what? I'm going to start training. And on top of that, I remember going to the gym, working out for a solid hour. My sister was into bodybuilding. I was practicing my nutrition protocols, learning about, how to tailor bodies and nutrition when they're getting ready for show, and learning a lot, but exercising with her at the time. And I just remember waking up one day and the room wouldn't stop spinning. I turned in bed and the room felt like it was just spinning upside down. And I remember my heart racing, and I was like, what was that? And all of a sudden I realized my equilibrium was off. I just wasn't feeling right. I remember thinking, what is going on? Then I started to feel exhausted and depressed. And I just was so frustrated because I was technically eating right. I was exercising. I wasn't drinking. I was doing all those umbrella right things to do, but I felt like a Lamborghini with no engine. And I remember thinking, this is really strange, to discover that I had given myself adrenal fatigue because it is a lifestyle issue, right? So that's where I had to discover, what are the adrenals? I didn't realize how powerful they are, how much we need them, how much we tap into it without even knowing. And I had to learn and unprogram myself from believing I was invincible, and start living a lifestyle where I had to value sleep, and I had to value naps, and I had to value meal times, and I had to learn to say no. And as a mom, that is an art. I'm glad I got it earlier in the day, but you're right. It is so hard to say no. It is so hard to delegate things or drop things or date things and just really honor our space. So thank you for bringing that up, Rachel. If somebody is feeling like they have adrenal fatigue, is there any specific testing for that they can do? And if they do have it, I know it's a big lifestyle challenge, but what can they do? Small steps in the right direction. What would you recommend?
Yeah, if you find a functional medicine provider, it's something we're very in tune with and we check for regularly. If you're in the conventional model, they don't necessarily recognize the diagnosis adrenal fatigue. They just think the adrenals are there hanging out. They don't give them much. They just don't put much importance on it. So in conventional world, they can check some blood work, but I like to look at saliva and what the cortisol, DHEA, and what the cortisol adrenal access is doing. And so I use a functional lab called Dutch, and it's through Precision Analytical, and we ship the kits to your house and you do them throughout the day, so I can see what your curve is doing. You're supposed to have a nice bell curve with your cortisol, and a lot of people like mine was flatlined. It was like whipping a dead horse. You go to the bank to get some cash and the bank account's empty. So that was a wide open awakening for me, that my adrenals were tanked because I was functioning like you, Dianne. I was doing everything, being a busy mom of 3, working full time, taking care of my everything, people pleasing, because I'm a people pleaser by nature. So I had to learn how to say no and to disappoint people sometimes, because to honor my needs isn't always what everyone else wants. But at the end of the day, I had to stop feeling guilty about that and say, I'll get to it when I'm ready. But right now, this is what I need to do for my needs. And that's when things started to change. When I started to really put the mindset in that my needs are important, I'm worth it, all the things with mindset. And so you get that diagnosis, some quick things you can do to kind of treat adrenal fatigue that doesn't, break the bank. Prioritize sleep, good sleep hygiene, turn electronics off at night, really decrease stimulation in your bedroom, put on calm, relaxing music, take a bath, journal. I like to say 3 to 5 things I'm grateful for before I go to bed, and take some deep breaths. That can really just bring down the nervous system and calm things. If you're really having trouble turning that brain off, you're feeling wired and tired, you can use some really safe supplements called like magnesium. It's a smooth muscle relaxer, can calm the whole body. Melatonin is a favorite and is well tolerated. L-theanine, and then I love the red tea from Organo. It's got ashwagandha and some other calming herbs, along with the reishi spores. To have the spores, yes, that help relax the body and calm the brain. I also like quiet time, plugging in every day to meditation, quiet time, taking deep breaths, mindset, envisioning how you want your future to be, and really filling up your body with positive, grateful thoughts and focusing on gratitude. This can put your brain into higher brain waves and really really tap into the law of attraction and what you want to create in your life. And that's been first and foremost very powerful for me, of just creating that space in my day. Even if you do it for 5 minutes and move on from there, it can be life-changing. And then small, frequent, nutrient-dense meals. Give your body nourishment. Stop eating out of packages and fast food. Plan ahead, plan good nutrients, dense snacks like some nuts or nut butter on fruit, that kind of stuff. Eat lean hormone-free meats, avocados, and then drink organo drinks. They across the board are life-changing. And I've noticed that in myself since I've started them. You get better mood, better energy, helps stabilize your blood pressure, boost your immune function, and can also help with some gut issues. So in the past, if you haven't been able to tolerate coffee, the good news is most people can tolerate organo coffee, which was so good for me because I had given it up and it was something I really missed. And so now I can have my 1 to 2, sometimes 3 cups a day and sleep like a baby at night. And it's really given me a lot of optimism and energy, no more energy crashes or unpleasant moodiness that has all just kind of drifted away. And then lastly, move your body. Bodies are meant to move. If you're at a desk job or at a job where you don't move a lot, get up and take a 5-minute walk, every couple hours, or, high intensity 3 to 4 times a week. Don't overdo it because like Dianne said, you can tank out overdoing it, but you definitely want to listen to your body and get some movement in. So those are some quick tips. Did you want me to go over a few other support adrenal supplements?
Yeah, maybe some adrenal supplements will be great. And then I'll just do a nice recap. But, there were a lot of supplements on the market that can help with adrenal restoration and support. But I think the most important piece that people really get from the show is there are great things to do, but the recovery and the know is massive. Because as a health nut in my early 20s, when I'm young and everything's just, go, I did everything right. I did the licorice root. I did the adrenal formulations that are out there. And despite all that, I just didn't know how to turn it off. You have to turn it off. Meditation is massive. Mm-hmm. It is massive to shut down that beta wavelength, which is your stress hormone. It's massive for reducing glutamate. That's that neurotransmitter that makes you stressed and hyper and wired, and it helps raise that GABA activity. There is a lot of science pointing to that, but if you are not resting and recovering, you are running on stress hormones, and that is the bottom line. And then once you start incorporating that, well, we want to now fast track your way to recovery. Hopefully you learned your lesson the way I've learned mine, unfortunately. But there are some really cool supplements people can pick up. There's a whole range of them. And again, if you want something customized, talk to the person to find a practitioner, connect with Rachel. She is virtual as well, which is pretty cool. But maybe you can give us your top 3 or top 5.
Yeah. And first and foremost, I totally agree with the mindset and meditation. I would say 80% is mindset and meditation for recovery. 20% is supplements. So don't just think you can take a supplement and it's all going to change. You've got to put in the work. You've got to prioritize your needs and your time to bring everything down, like Dianne said. But if we do find that you need some adrenal support, we want to expedite results. Some of the top supplements I like, Adrenal Cortex from Seeking Health is a nice glandular that adds a little extra support. I like licorice tea or drops. That's nice for keeping cortisol active in the body instead of metabolizing it out to the inactive form. Rhodiola, ashwagandha are very calming herbs, very good for tea or drops. And then if you want something more complex that hits all the cofactors, glandulars, and herbs, Adrenal Complex from Designs for Health is a nice supplement you can take. And then, of course, organo drinks. Wouldn't go without those.
Oh my, that's exactly it. So I'm going to highlight some great things you said. If you're listening to the call, you can find your levels, right? The cortisol saliva test is out there. I did that myself. And I too, Rachel, was completely flatlined. And yes, like you heard, you're going to go into the conventional medical model world. They don't understand this syndrome. It doesn't exist for them. Understand pathology and dysfunction are in different categories. The medical conventional model is designed to detect pathology. You go in and test. Are you okay? Test. Yep, you're still okay. Yep, you're still in normal ranges. You can be in normal ranges, but still have dysfunction going on. So dysfunction precedes pathology, which is why you want to start diving into your health now while you have your health. Prevention is really what it's all about. You can start getting levels tested. I got a DHEA blood test done. it was equivalent of a 70-year-old. And I did that in my 20s and I was completely flatlined. So I needed DHEA. In the US, it's readily available. In Canada, you do need it by prescription, but it's out there. These things are out there. And of course, like we talked about, saying no, resting, recovering, sleep. If you need a nap in the afternoon, you need to take that nap. Like, carve it out, say no, reschedule, get the kids to watch a movie and close those eyes. I know nothing that'll restore you faster than a quick nap if your body is needing it. We did talk about some great glandulars and some wonderful herbs, some different companies. Many companies right now are making great adrenal restoration products. That's fantastic. And meals, don't go long times without meals. This was one of my biggest mistakes. Many hours without eating because I could just go. I was running on stress hormones. Hello. The cortisol was taking away my appetite. This is why I was confusing being hyper and overactive, which was really called stressed and wired. That's usually the first sign that if you keep that up, you could crash, which is what happened to me. And then exercising doesn't have to be rigorous. It just means you have to move. And maybe moving means a great, beautiful walk in nature. And nature really will restore your body really fast. I don't think we give it enough credit. The other day I went for walking meditation in the park, and the restoration, the vibrancy, that energetic connection is so powerful to restore. Earthing on the ground. These are wonderful things you can really dive into and discover. And last but not least, and I'm really going to share this story because this is where my Achilles heel lies, Rachel. Anything goes wrong for me, my adrenals were the first thing to give out. It's my weakest area. I learned that the hard way, and that's part of my journey. We're not perfect. We're just learning, and we want to share. And it was the reishi infused beverages that really turned my life around. I did the liquor shoot. I did the DHEA. I did all of it, and I just felt like I couldn't really get back to it. And it wasn't until I was introduced years ago. That's why I'm so passionate about the Organo brand. Why? Because it tastes good. There is reishi mushroom guys out there. You can buy Ganoderma out there. Feel free to do it. It comes in teas and comes in capsules. It comes in tinctures. I mean, many naturopaths that carry this product, but you need something that's bioavailable to the cell, which means if I took 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C and I only absorbed 200 milligrams, well, that's only 200 milligrams that went in my cells. What happened to the 800, right? Bioavailability means your body's ability to absorb. So the bioavailability of this company grows it in the earth, number one, and not out of plastic bags. They're certified organic, number two. Number three, the bioavailability of a technology that they use the crack shell spore rate at. And I know I'm throwing a lot of jargon your way, but if you are a health practitioner, you're following me tight here. That is what makes the difference. Quality is everything. And many different companies, a lot of great companies Rachel mentioned today are some of her favorites. These are wonderful science-based companies that do their research. And that's what I found when I started drinking the red tea was it. Oh my gosh, the Ganoderma, the cordyceps in there. It felt like someone gave me a warm blanket and said everything was going to be okay. The spore capsules. And I went from really exhausted, having to be really careful walking a tight line, to all of a sudden going back to normal again. And I learned not to overdo it. That's the one thing. If you're going to start feeling good again, be careful. Slippery slope. You can feel like you can go back to your old self and do it all again. That's the message you got to get right. That is the lesson. And myself, along with many people suffering adrenal fatigue, because I'm so versed in it, we're feeling the same results. So I love that you share that today, Rachel. Thank you for being with us on the show. And any, last minute advice or tips you want to tell our guest audience, and maybe where they can find you, whether it's on Instagram, your website, and you just mentioned you do this testing. If you can just reiterate that for our guests.
Sure. I just want to make it clear that fatigue is not normal. It's not a normal part of aging. If you feel like you have any of these blood sugar crashing issues, craving salty foods, blood pressure crashes out of the blue, or headaches, think that maybe something else is going on, and really, think about connecting with a functional medicine provider. You can connect with me through my website, www.alivefunctionalhealth.com, or on Instagram, it's the Alive Method with periods after each. And also my email is alivefunctionalmedicine@gmail.com. And I would love to talk to you about doing the testing with Dutch Health, the saliva testing, hormone testing. We can also talk about looking at root causes with gut imbalances, nutrient deficiencies, all the things to help get your adrenals back on track and get your health back on track to feeling your best. Because like Dianne said, you show up better as a mom, as a sister, a daughter, an aunt, a whole human being when you're feeling good. Your mood's better, your whole authentic self can show up. And that's what this world really needs. It needs everybody to let their light shine and feel their best.
I love it, Rachel. And that's it, guys. We have heard from our wonderful Rachel, nurse practitioner called functional medicine doctor. I love it. You can find her on Instagram, The Alive Method. She's always sharing some great tips. I think you'll be seeing more of her on social media. And of course, her website, alivefunctionalmedicine.com. Am I right about that?
Alive Functional Health.
Alive Functional Health. We'll have that in the verbiage underneath, but nonetheless, alivefunctionalhealth.com is where you can find Rachel, and you can access it. I'm sure a lot of the supplements she recommended today, if you didn't get a chance to write those down, you can connect with her, find out. You can also access this wonderful coffee and tea and capsules that are Ganoderma driven through Rachel as well. If you're interested in becoming a guest on the show, and you have a fabulous message, you're a practitioner of some sort of area that you love, you have a message you want to share with the world, then feel free to reach out to me, the Dianne Solano, on Instagram as well. We're going to be doing a lot of fun sharing. We got a whole marketing team now being able to bring that up to speed. And I'm just excited to see everyone moving forward powerfully. The messages I'm getting on the different topics we're sharing bi-weekly, which are recorded. You can go to your podcast app on any device, whether it's Android or iPhone. You just open up that podcast app, type in, Empowered Through Health, or my name, Dianne Solano, with 2 N's, of course, Dianne with 2 N's. You will find all the recordings from all our previous show guests where you'll learn about gut health. You'll learn about, brain health. You'll learn about so many great tips like Rachel today shared with us. So many things you can be doing for yourself, your family, your friends, and your loved ones. And that's the whole idea, everyone, is to get empowered, learn these tools. You can start doing them today and turn your life around, start feeling better, stay out of trouble. It's so much easier to stay out of trouble than to get out of trouble. And that's the whole idea behind this show. There's many times I wish I knew what I knew a lot earlier. And that's the goal, is to help empower people on the show, because your 100 trillion cells have been thriving on nutrition for thousands of years, and it's not going to change. We have to get back to those basics. We have to honor who we are. We have to work from a space of alignment and integrity and choosing what we want to do with our time. We got to know and think about, what is it that we have to say no to? What is it that we have to, decide we want to become and step into? And are our physical bodies holding us back from that? Because if they are, many of us have experienced having colds or flus where we just don't feel very great at all. We don't want to perform very well in life because we're trying to recover, and the body is no different. So thank you again, Rachel, for sharing the topic on adrenal fatigue, the 21st century syndrome, I like to call it, my personal little battle, my little shadow I've had to deal with all these years. But I'm happy and excited that we got some great information off the ground. We'll see you again next Friday as we keep sharing with different guests around the world. Stay tuned every other Friday on the Transformation Talk Radio, here on our podcast, Empowered Through Health. Have a good day, everyone. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you for listening to Empowered Through Health with Dianne Solano. For more information, visit Senergy.ca. That's SENARGY.ca.